One of the many benefits of a SharePoint environment is the ability to enforce data management rules on list items and documents through the creation and the usage of information policies. So think about compliance officers and records management people and how they can benefit from the enforcement of policies on items in SharePoint, since the information they need is in the SharePoint environment along with the corresponding data and documents. And the beauty is end users won't even know most of these policy features even exist because information can be managed according to your business practices behind the scenes. Now, there are 3 levels at which an information management policy can be defined. So we can throw an information management policy on a site collection. So at the site collection level, you would throw your settings in here, and they can be inherited by content types, lists, and libraries within the collection. At the content type level, here's where any items or documents created using the affected content type will have the defined policies automatically applied to them. And then we have the list and library level. Here's where you can define policies for a specific list or a library, and only items in that list or library will be affected by the policy. So let's discuss the 4 policy features that come with SharePoint Server 2007 to support document labeling, auditing, and data retention. Now, in the next lesson, we will create a site collection policy, and this is the screen here that we'll arrive at when we do this. But before we create one, let's check out the policy features so you fully understand them when we create and apply these policies in the upcoming lessons. So when we go to create a policy, we need to give it a name, and the name of the policy is directed at administrators. So the name and administrative description down below are shown to list managers when configuring policies on a list or a content type. Down below in the policy statement area, here's what end users will see. A little further down, we reach our first feature. I mentioned there were 4, and the first one here is labels. Now, I've enabled all 4 of these features so they are expanded to show you their options down below. So when we enable labels, well, we can add labels to a document to ensure that information about that document is going to be included when it's saved or printed. So we could prompt users to insert this label or any other label we create before saving or printing. And then we can also say that changes to that label cannot be made once they're added. Now down below is where we insert the actual label, the content of the label. And you can see from the examples down below, this is going to be metadata, so we can use tags and actual text. And we can even format the appearance and the size of the label. A little further down, we can preview what that's going to look like by clicking the refresh button. So we'll do this in the next lesson. A little further down, we see the next feature, which is auditing. This is a cool feature because you can specify the events that should be audited for your documents and even your items in a list. So some of the events include opening or downloading documents, viewing items in a list, or viewing item properties. Anytime that happens, it's recorded, and you can look at the auditing reports to get an idea of which documents and items are being opened and viewed and so on. Same thing goes for editing items, checking them in and out, moving or copying items to another location, even deleting and restoring items can be audited. A little further down, we've got the expiration section, and here's where we can enable the expiration of documents, or a retention period as we would call it. So we can set a retention period that the item is going to be stored in the site for an extended length of time. But then what happens when that expiry date arrives? Well, down below, when the item expires, you have some options. It can be deleted, or just the information about it can be deleted. The last section kind of goes with the labels up top, and that's barcodes. And information that we put in the label can appear as a barcode, and this is kind of handy for Microsoft Office applications where you might want to require users to insert these barcodes into their documents. You can prompt them to do so by clicking this checkbox. So instead of the actual label text, they would see a barcode that could then be read. All right, so in the next lesson, we're going to continue by creating our first policy, which is a site collection policy.